CBS News Elections Director Anthony Salvanto here now to talk about those poll numbers that we mentioned at the top of the hour. How you doing?
I'm well. How are you?
Crunching these numbers?
Always good on a poll day.
So what are the polls showing a week after the first presidential debate?
Well, Hillary Clinton got a bump out of that debate. She was tied heading into it. Now she's up 4 in this poll. And what you see is that the debate appears to have helped her more because people who watched it said that they, by 2-1, came away with a more favorable impression of her. Now, that's not directly saying they've chosen to vote for her, but they got a more favorable impression. So that's a big indicator. That's the one we watch. Whereas with Donald Trump, fewer people said that they had a favorable impression of him. So that's one way you know. Now, not all debate bumps last, so we will see. You know, historically they don't always, but that's where we stand today.
Do you think tomorrow's debate will have any effect?
Well, you know, it could. I think I would second the things that Nancy mentioned. Often the vice presidential debate speaks to the judgment of the candidate at the top of the ticket. And so, yes, it can have an effect because these are the folks that were selected to be their number 2. People often say that's the first big decision that any president or would-be president makes, and so of course it reflects on them.
Where is Clinton's lead coming from? You said that she benefited the most.
Yeah, the things that strike you out of this, number one, is the growing gender gap. And you see her with a big lead among women, among white women in particular. And historically, that's a move. And she's got to capitalize on that because she's not doing as well with men. She's not doing as well as the last few days, you know, as President Obama and other Democratic nominees.
Whereas Trump is.
Whereas Trump is doing a little better there. So it's the growing gender gap with women that offsets and more than makes up for that deficit with men. And the other thing to watch, too, is this college, non-college split that we keep seeing. And what happens is Hillary Clinton doing much better than Democrats typically do with college-educated voters. And that accrues to her in places that are fast-growing, like Virginia, where they are now. That helps buttress her in some of those swing states where they have larger populations with you know, high-tech workers and white-collar workers with college degrees.
Any sense of why that is, though? Why that changeover?
Yeah, you know, part of that comes from the economy. And it always comes back to the economy. But here's why. College-educated workers are having, relatively, an easier time in the economy since the recession, and they tell us that, whereas those without college degrees are increasingly feeling like the economy is stacked against them. And so it's much more likely that they're looking for change, and Donald Trump has consistently throughout this campaign been seen as the candidate who can bring change, and that's part of why. One
other thing that I wanted to mention, I don't even know if we have a graph for this, but enthusiasm among Clinton supporters, that actually took a bump as well, whereas Trump, not very enthusiastic there. Clinton has 46% saying that they're enthusiastic, and earlier I should say that Trump had that, but now Clinton went up and Trump went down.
It's such a great point. I'm glad you raised it because folks should realize in polls, enthusiasm is part of why a candidate's numbers go up and down. Because when we talk about likely voters, these are the folks who say that they're actually going to turn out. And if they don't say that, then they don't count. They don't get counted as likely voters.
They need motivation.
So you've got to be motivated.
Yeah.
Okay. So what's happened is, this is exactly what's happened, is Clinton's voters coming into the debate were less enthusiastic. And so they weren't saying they were going to vote. But now, after this, sometimes what happens is partisans start to rally. They figure, oh, if my candidate won the debate, I've gotten a little boost here. They rally a little bit. So they're still with Clinton, they always were, but now they're more likely to say they vote. And so their weight in the polling goes up a little bit as well. And that's part of what a candidate's boost is. It's not always flipping back and forth.
Sure.
Because there aren't that many undecided people.
Oh, I love this kind of discussion. So much to talk about.
There is. We've still got a month.
Yes,
There's plenty.
We do. Yes, we do. Thank you, Anthony Salvanto. Appreciate it.
Thank you.